watching a master at work.
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Hey, batter, hey, batter. Swing and a miss. There you go. You're not going to miss this. 8 o'clock, UPTV, Channel 6. Tell it like it is. We're back. Second season, second show. Stat Girl, Jason, Joe, and he may be large, but he's no dumb cookie. The big rookie, Big Wayne.
How you doing, Mr. Stovall?
I'm excellent, man. I'm excellent.
Right. Well, considering all things the past couple nights.
Man, you know what I feel like? When I was a shorty and I used to get a whooping? Because that's what the Cubs are getting right now. What is going on? People, UPTV Channel 6, we're going to jump right into this show. 384-2452. Get them phones fired up tonight. Last week, we didn't give Stat Girl a minimum. She didn't need one because, it was the first show. But now, 5. We're going to give her the... Hey, how you doing? You all right? I didn't put it in the contract? You never read your contract. So how do you know what's in your contract? You see why we had to put you back at the kids' table for Thanksgiving? Because you didn't act right the first season. But we appreciate you coming again, Stat Girl. But it's a 5-call minimum tonight. So get them phone lines warmed up. We're going to get the show warmed up, jump right into this Major League Baseball thing. Chicago Cubs.
Not looking very major right now. Kind of minor leaguish, as you can say. Spit it out.
It's hard, man. I need some Pepto. Or some pink bismuth, the generic version of Pepto. Cubs are down 0-2, man. Diamondbacks. Now, I don't want to hear about the Diamondbacks had the best record in the National League. I don't want to hear about Webb and his pitching in last night, Davis. All I know is that from June to the end of the season, the Cubs were the best team in the National League. They had the best record.
The record shows it. But going from these last 2 nights, we might as well could have sent the Pittsburgh Pirates out from the Central Division.
Ooh.
I mean, 4 hits from your top 4 in the lineup, that's not going to get it done.
Well,
You
here's the first thing I want to even come back to you on. What do they talk about that wins championships in baseball?
pitching, defense.
Defense, pitching, defense. Zambrano and Lilly, you saying your ace and your ace light right on the mound for first 2 games. Now, granted, first game, Zambrano.
Pitched a wonderful game. Can't expect to win a game with 1 run. He gave up 2.
He gave up 1.
Well, yeah, 1.
Because Carlos Marmol, the super sensation reliever all year.
3 home runs given up all year.
And he comes in and put one on a platter with sauce all around it and cheese on top.
Now, do you double question Pinella on hooking Zambrano that night?
It's hard to say, and here's why. As you just said, Marmol has only given up 3 home runs the entire season. He had been pitching lights out as a reliever to the point where a lot of fans were saying, hey, Marmol should be the closer. You know, let's get Dempster out of
The
there.
formula has worked all year.
And
But on the other hand, it's the playoffs. Zambrano has a $91 million contract.
right,
He hasn't lost a game yet. Let him win it.
I agree.
You know, that's what you pay him the big bucks for, to go out there and win the game. You snatch him when he's only threw 85 pitches. Next inning, look what happened.
Now, here's my question. And you talk about pitching, and you brought up earlier hitting. Ramirez, Soriano, and Lee.
Don't even say Ramirez. He 0 hits and 9 at-bats. Had 6 people left on last night.
Now, he had 6 left by himself, In game one, they left, what, 10 runners in scoring position?
The top four has 4 hits in 2 games. Soriano got 2 of those last night.
Hold on, man. Let me take my glasses off you. Oh, I think it's a Cedric headache number 99 because it's going to be 99 years and we still ain't got a World Series.
On the other hand, the Cubs have played like this all year. They've played horrible baseball, turn around, win 5-6 in a row. So it can be done. You got 2 at Wrigley. Only thing, you sending Rich Hill to the mound. Me, people say I'm crazy for thinking like this. Send Kerry Wood to the mound.
Okay.
He can give you 4 innings. You let your bullpen do the rest. I just don't think Rich Hill has a mentality to go out there knowing that if your team don't win, you're done.
Season's over.
Kerry Wood has been there before. Let him do it.
Yeah.
And here's his chance to show everybody that he's back and to show everybody what he's capable of doing.
Well, I tell you what, I want everybody out there who's watching UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. If you want to tell us if we're capable of doing what we're doing, give us a hit, 384-2452. That's an interesting theory you bring up about Kerry Woods and the fact that, number one, Woods has progressively gotten better coming out of the bullpen as the season has gone on. He did a good job the final 2 weeks when the Cubs were closing out the
my other
division.
thought on that is, to cut you off, is we're done with Kerry Wood as far as trying to reserve his arm, and we don't want to hurt him. He's old. He's getting older now. We've gave him his chance.
Right.
Hey, we're in the playoffs now. You know, we're not guaranteed to be back here next year, and he's not guaranteed to be back with the team next year. So let's use him now while we got him and while he's pitching good, and see what the future holds in that.
Right. Well, I tell you what, not only the Cubs are going to use Kerry Woods, but we're going to use his phone line, 384-2452. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
Hi, this is James Lee calling. I am calling to get your opinion on this Illinois-Wisconsin game tomorrow and the absurdity of Illinois being favored by 2.5 points over the number 5 team in the country.
Excellent question, Jamie.
And thanks for saving us from this Cub conversation, caller.
There you go, because it was killing us. We were going to have to go to the medicine cabinet. Number one, Illinois-Wisconsin, my opinion on it, is going to be a smash-mouth game. If you've noticed what's been happening all season, number one, starting with Wisconsin, P.J. Hill in the backfield. They've got nothing but big uglies up front on their offensive line. They like to run the ball and put pressure on the defense. On the flip side, though, Wisconsin's defense gives up yards in big chunks.
And big points.
You can buy a ticket at the train station and ride on their defense all day long because there are a lot of holes in that defense, which plays right into the offensive scheme that Illinois has been running with the spread offense, running Mendenhall, Juice Williams, and alike in terms of running right at Wisconsin's defense. I've got a feeling if Illinois doesn't turn that football over, it won't be so absurd that they're favored 2.5 points over the number 5 team in the nation.
And I also think the style of offense that Wisconsin run plays right into the hands of Jay Lehman. You can see him get 20 tackles tomorrow.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about being sideline to sideline with Jay Hill. It's right up in the hole, and that's his game. And I think, for the most part, Illinois' defensive line is very underrated.
Right.
Maybe, from what I've seen so far, probably tops in the Big Ten.
I agree that the one Achilles heel that I've noticed with Illinois' defense, if you go back to the first game when they played Missouri, and if you even go back to last week when they played Penn State, the deep ball,
The pass coverage. Safeties can't get deep enough.
they can't get deep enough. And if you've got speed on the corners in terms of your wideouts, that's where I think you can attack
But
Illinois'
Wisconsin
defense.
doesn't fear me this week with that. Maybe Michigan, but not Wisconsin.
I agree with
If
you
you
there.
stop Beckham, maybe you got a good shot of, beating Wisconsin.
The final thing on that, the best defense for Illinois is to run the football and keep P.J. Hill and the big offensive line on the sideline for about 40 minutes of the game, and Illinois can come home with a victory.
And I'm going to go a little Lovey Smith on you right here and sound like a broken tape recorder.
But,
If Juice can get to 200 yards, 150 to 200 yards,
right,
he doesn't have to throw for 300.
Right.
Just enough to keep him honest and keep him out of that box and let Mendenhall and himself do the job in the middle, running the ball.
well, I've got some other points I'm going to make later on in the show about Illinois' offense and what's going on. But, Jamie, we appreciate you calling. Tell it like it is. Give us a hit anytime. Friday nights, 8 o'clock, UPTV Channel 6. 384-2452. Phone lines are open. Stat Girl, she straightened her hat out and she got her Heelys going so she can roll back and forth between these phones. Back to Major League Baseball, the road through the playoffs. Lou Piniella, Cubs manager. What's up with Lou's uniform? That 41 looks like it's a 411. Information, please.
A little stretched out.
Man, take the belt off or untuck. You know, I know I'm riding a little girth myself, but
Go with the Cubs Cub over jacket, you know?
there you go. You know, pull it down, put your hands in the pocket. But Lou needs to, you know, loosen his uniform up because
And maybe he can manage a little looser. I
That's-
mean, from what I've seen, I think he's trying to let the players win it. Sometimes you got to, you know, step, you know, like Terrio's on second base, late inning game. Mm-hmm. You let Zambrano swing away. He lines out to shortstop. Soriano gets up and line out to the center fielder.
Correct.
If you bunt Terrio over with Zambrano, that's a run in a tight ball game. You know, it comes to a point to where you have to manage and stop thinking your veteran players are going to just do everything on their own. You got to kind of guide them to it. Because, I mean, Lee has been there, he's done it, but the rest of these guys have never really played championship ball.
right. And I agree with you on that point, the fact that if this is a regular season game, yeah, you let Zambrano swing away.
The playoffs, and it's a
Because
tied ball game.
it's entirely different baseball. And if you're looking at it from the standpoint that runs are a premium in this game, and the way the game has started off, your top four are not hitting the way they should. I got a guy at second. Okay, Zambrano last time up hit a double. But what are the chances of him?
He's still a pitcher.
Bingo.
He's still a pitcher.
He's not batting 315. He's batting about 236.
Right.
So at that point, lay the bunt down, move your man over to third,
And Soriano did what he was, you know, he lined it was
fly ball?
Terrio was fast enough to score. You know, I just look at stuff like that, you know.
But you know the other thing though, which is easy, it's easy to second guess managers in this situation, especially when
It's 2-0.
it's right.
You know,
I mean, did we expect the Cubs to go out there to Arizona and drop 2 in a row? I didn't. But here's the final thing on the Cubs: no team's ever has ever come back from being down 0-2 in a best-of-5 series in terms of Major League Baseball. However, if you go back, Boston Red Sox down 0-3. No team had ever come back from being down 0-3. They went on an 8-game winning streak.
didn't lose another game.
Didn't lose nothing, beat the Yankees in 4, and then came back, swept the Cardinals, won the World Series. So we've seen stranger things. Tomorrow afternoon, about 5 o'clock, Game 3, Rich Hill on the mound. Let's move on from the Cubs. The Stankies. The Stankies are taking on the Cleveland Indians. And last night,
Ugly.
I keep telling everybody, the Yankees remind me of a 12-inch softball team. They got all those big bats, and when they beat you, they beat you. But when them bats are silent, what happens? What happened last night?
Hey.
They left at least 8 guys on base.
And the ironic thing about it, they were 7-1 against Sabathia, and, you know, throughout his career. And he had them going last night. They couldn't touch him.
Well, he was struggling a little bit early.
Early.
Put some guys on, but like I said, the Yankees couldn't do anything in terms of getting runs in, any run production, and they ended up getting bombed 12-3. They're playing again tonight. The score earlier was 1-1 in the bottom of the 10th, so we'll try to keep you posted. Hopefully you're watching us and not watching the Stankies, you know, because if you're watching the Stankies, then that means you ain't watching UPTV Channel 6. Now, one of the things, a side note that happened last night at the Yankees game, LeBron James, Cleveland Cavalier,
Mr. Cleveland.
Mr. Cleveland, you got it. He's
Mr.
sitting in
Ohio.
He's sitting in the stands, Ohio native. He's been able to, you know, the golden child, come back home, play for the home team, and he's sitting in the stands with a what?
Stanky's hat on.
And tried to justify it. See, Jeter, I grew up as a Yankee
I have nothing wrong with that.
Bingo.
Nothing wrong with that.
You can still be a Yankee fan.
You owe it to your city. You don't have to show your Indian loyalty or whatever. Don't wear the hat.
That's it.
Don't wear the hat. These people are taking you in with open arms. You're the face of their city.
Right.
And it's like a slap to your fans' face by doing that.
Right.
These same fans are Indians fans.
And here's the other thing. I know LeBron has done a great job so far in terms of the way he's carried himself
Right.
and the PR that he's received throughout his career. You would think that somebody would put a bug in his ear and say, bro, leave a hat in the car, go on in. You can holler at Jeter after the game if they win. You sitting down there in a section with nothing but Indian fans.
Right.
And you know, being LeBron James, the camera's going to be on you. And you make the choice.
I just don't think it was the smartest thing to do, you know.
And the final thing on that, LeBron, you watch Seinfeld. You saw when Elaine and them went to the game and put the Red Sox hat on and it got thrown out the box. If it could happen to Seinfeld and Elaine and them, it could happen to you, you know. But we're going to go back to these phone lines, 384-2452. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
My name is Regina, and I'm calling from Urbana.
Hello, Regina.
Hi. I was calling just to see what you guys thought about Barry Bonds' mystery speaking out. Do you think it was a way for her to block him to get in Hall of Fame or just to blow herself up in Playboy?
I would have to go with the latter. He's a Hall of Famer. There's nothing, I mean, that's no doubt. But it comes a time in people's life where they feel they need to make a move to put themselves out in front, and, you know, that's what this is all about, publicity.
Well, let me ask you a question, Regina. She saved voicemails from Barry Bonds over a 9-year period.
Yes.
Why would a woman, regardless if she's his lover, mistress, etc., do anything like that other than the fact that
Motive, I mean.
right, her motivation has nothing to do with the sport, because Barry Bonds' performance to get into the Hall of Fame is still on the field. Obviously, her motivation was for herself due to the fact that now she's doing a Playboy spread, she's coming out on TV. So, you know, when you think about some of the things that she's done, not to exonerate Bonds in the fact that he's done some things in his past, and especially to her, that, you know, you can't say it is of good character and good judgment. But why would she do something like that?
Like you said, just for security for herself, for foundation. She struck it rich. I mean, she was trying to hold on to it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, you know, she'll get a nice paycheck from Playboy, and she can go hang out in the grotto and, you know, do her thing, and her life will continue on, and Barry Bonds can go into the Hall of Fame, and we can push this crazy saga behind
And
us.
that's a good question. It's nice to know the ladies out there listening to us tonight. Thanks for the question, Regina.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Phone lines blowing up. I think Stat Girl, you know what it is? Whenever Stat Girl pretend like she doesn't know what the call minimum is because she says she doesn't read her contract. However, I think she knew she had a call minimum tonight. That's the reason why she's hitting it already.
Right.
We're going to go to these phone lines again, 384-2452. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you call from, tell it like it is.
This is Brother Burnett again from Urbana.
What's going on, Rev?
How you doing there, man? Oh, boy, called that Slayton him upset last week.
Hey.
Better keep him. Called that upset
Thanks, brother.
last week.
I'm going to tell you right now, the man knows his stuff. We just ain't going to bring anybody on here to tell it like it is.
Man.
He told it like it is. Now, Rev, I know we don't condone betting, but maybe you take some of that money out the masonry jar, put a couple dollars on the next prediction he got.
Hey, I want to disagree with you on that LeBron James.
Disagree.
And, you know, I've been a Yankee fan and a Cubs fan all my life. If I strike it rich and go to Chicago, I'm going to still be a Yankee fan.
Okay.
Everybody was, I was listening to Mike in the morning. Everybody was just dogging him out for that. Man, you know, I know they paying him. And Cleveland is paying him. And, you know, if it wasn't for Cleveland, he wouldn't be eating or whatever. But you still got to be real to yourself. You know, if you sit there and say, well, I'm a Cleveland fan, ain't really a Cleveland fan, you got to go with what you growed up with.
Rev, and I agree with you on that. What we're saying is he didn't have to say he was a Cleveland fan. He just didn't have to come in and disrespect the thousands of people that were in the stadium by wearing a Yankee hat. He can still be a Yankee fan, but those people pay his salary on the basketball court.
You got to represent who you are. That's all I'm saying. If he's a Yankee fan, let him wear the hat. It looked bad. It looked bad. It looked bad.
It looks very bad.
It's about public relations, and he had some bad relations with the public.
So I think that, he was representing what he wanted to do. If he wanted to be a representing Cleveland fan, put the Cleveland hat on. But it was a stunt, though, because like you said, somebody could have told me.
Well, you know what?
You said was there.
Rev, we got to let you go, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you hooked up with LeBron so you can tell him next time, and you tell him like it is, okay?
All right, got you, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Take care. Phone lines fired up, 384-2452. Rev told it like it is, And I guess we're going to have another caller do it like that. This LeBron thing, I think, has got people on, nobody's straddling the
I think
fence.
it's going to draw that much attention, but, hey.
Got people calling, got people talking.
Yep.
Caller,
Yeah.
tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
This is Big M, and I'm calling from Champaign. I am the Bear fan of Champaign, Urbana, and my question to you is, what exactly is wrong with the Bears? I want to hear your perspective on that.
Capital R, capital O, capital N. Offensive coordinator. Offensive line, running back. Did I do it for you?
Nope.
What you think is wrong?
The mere fact that they've wasted draft picks on quarterbacks, they haven't had a real quarterback since
Agree.
Jim McMahon. And I thought that they could have lured Donovan McNabb out of Philadelphia to come on home and play for the Bears to give them a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl without relying on the defense. Now that we have all these defensive injuries, everybody's throwing them in the tank now.
Yeah, Byron Leftwich floated around for 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, I still think he's better than anybody we have on our roster right now.
I agree with you on that, but the fact that he's slow of foot has, tainted his, however,
Yeah, he's slow of
Could be
foot.
productive career.
I disagree with you on that because he's slow of foot because we tend to think that our black quarterbacks are supposed to be runners.
No, I never said that he was supposed to be running, but
Hey.
his movement in the pocket is the reason he lost his job to David Garrard in the first place.
He lost his job because he played hurt and couldn't get back on the field.
He got hurt. That's not how he lost
I
his
said
job.
he
He lost
played
his job in what? The preseason because he couldn't move. He's not lateral enough. He can't elude the defensive rush to get out of the way of getting sacked or getting his balls batted down.
I tell you what I say. I'm gonna say two things on Leftwich and the Bears. Number one, Leftwich lost his job because Leftwich got thrown in the fire like a lot of first-round draft picks, and Leftwich is no different than David Carr, Tim Couch, who was Cade McNown, Achilles Smith, and you're starting to see it with Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning. If you look at what's happening with quarterbacks in the NFL, Tony Romo is the classic example. He got 3.5 years to stand on the sidelines, watch the game, learn the game, and tutored by Drew Bledsoe and Vinny Testaverde before he even touched the field. Some of these guys are being put in the fire too early, and their confidence is being destroyed. It's not that they don't have the physical attributes. I don't think a lot of them had the mental attributes to handle the pounding so early in their career. And because of that, you now get a shell-shocked quarterback. And Leftwich may have been available for the Bears, but I think it would have been a bad pickup because I don't think he would have come in and done anything better than what they've got now.
Not the way the offensive line is blocking.
Exactly. And the other thing I was going to say, if you really think about the Chicago Bears and the history of the Bears have really never had good quarterbacks. They've had serviceable quarterbacks. If you think back to Jim McMahon was not a great quarterback.
No, but he had the heart and the tenacity, what it took to get the team. It's not always about physical attributes. And to comment on what you made, to say about what you just stated about these quarterbacks, they threw Peyton Manning in the fire.
And Peyton Manning, his first year was horrible.
Okay, we're
It took
not just
Peyton
talking
Manning,
about
listen
the
to this.
first year.
It took Peyton Manning 9 years to win that Super Bowl title. They gave Byron Leftwich 4 years in Jacksonville and then cut him.
Yeah, but
Keely
he
Smith
had a
got 3 years in
defense.
Cincinnati. He got cut. The other issue, and this goes back to what Donovan McNabb talked about. This is the point he was making about the different pressures that are put on African-American quarterbacks. Eli Manning is doing nothing in New York. I think we all can agree on that. New York is not going to the playoffs based on Eli Manning. They may go based on their defense and their running game, but they're not going to go based on Eli Manning. But Eli Manning will still have a job. And that's the difference I think Donovan McNabb was speaking on in terms of what's happening with African-American quarterbacks. These guys, it takes time. You know, like I said, Peyton Manning, for all the accolades he gets today, he's been in the league 10 years.
I understand that. He's not
It took
one of
him
my
9 years to get to that Super Bowl. So he didn't come in and set the house on fire. Tom Brady is an anomaly because he was a 6th-round draft pick. Nobody knew Tom Brady was going to do what he's doing today because not only did 32 teams pass over him, they passed over him 6 times.
Right.
So when we look at
He
quarterbacks,
also sat for a little bit too.
he sat, and the only reason why he played is because Drew Bledsoe got hurt. So it's not like Tom Brady was lighting it up in practice where the coaches could say, we're going to put Brady in, you have a seat.
Right.
He got on the field based on injury. He's no different than what happened with Lou Gehrig back in the day. Wally Pipp got hurt, the rest is history.
Okay, your prediction on Sunday's Green Bay game.
I'll take this one.
Go ahead.
I just say Bears win by 3. I was asking what you thought.
No, I'm talking to my partner here.
Okay.
I agree with you. I can see the Bears winning this game for the simple fact Green Bay does not run the ball. And we all know that with pressure on him, like the Bears can put on Brett Favre, he will throw interceptions. And if our defensive backfield is back and healthy, I can see him picking off 2 or 3 to set our offense up to go on and squeeze it in for a couple touchdowns.
Well,
I can see the Bears by, let's say 21-17.
Well, I just wanted to call and give y'all some support. Y'all do know a little something about the sports world.
Thanks, Colin.
Stovall, I'll see you out in traffic. I'm quite sure if you think about it, you'll know who this is.
Oh, I know who it is. Appreciate you, Big M.
All right, take
Thanks
it
for
easy.
calling, man. Got some excellent points there, but I disagree in the fact that Byron Leftwich, at this point with the Bears' offensive scheme,
Yeah.
I don't think he would have come in and changed it. Right now, I think
Well, I was the one that said we should get him.
right, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think it would have changed anything due to the fact that number one, Jerry Angelo has invested everything into Rex Grossman, not Lovie Smith,
And
that's why Lovie.
that's why Rex lasted so long. It didn't, come on, any football coach would not deal with that
No,
for that long.
5
that
years.
came down from above.
exactly.
That was not Lovey's call. I truly believe that was Angelo's call to keep Rex in that long.
And Lovey had to pull him, not because Greasy's a better player, because it showed last week. What it is that Lovey had to pull Rex before they had a mutiny in the locker
so he
room.
can keep respect for his other players.
That's it.
From his other players.
That's it. That's why he had to make that decision. And that's why when we were joking last week that Rex is still our quarterback, that was the memo that was set on the podium when Lovey would walk in to do his post-game press conference. He had to say that, and you know it was burning him and killing him inside.
Right.
In terms of that. But hey, excellent call. First half of the show, real exciting. Appreciate you guys checking out UPTV Channel 6. Tell it like it is. Joe and Big Wayne doing big things on Channel 6. Stat Girl, you all right? You hit your call minimum in the first 30 minutes. You need us to hit you in the face with a bucket of Gatorade? Maybe give us 30 minutes. We might hit you. But those of you sitting out there checking us out on UPTV Channel 6, we want to give love to you and everybody else out there. Give us a call, second half of the show, 384-2452. We're getting ready to flow into Big Ten football. Sitting here, we got my
Orange eye block.
Fighting Illini gear on. We had a call early in the show asking us about Illinois, Wisconsin. That's what's happening tomorrow, 11 a.m. out at Memorial Stadium. Illinois 4-1. They are on a roll. They beat Penn State last week. The Nittany Lions were, at that time, ranked 21st in the nation. Illinois pulled out a 27-20 victory. Juice Williams and Eddie McGee big things under center in terms of running the football. Rashard Mendenhall. This man said it last week. He said he thinks Mendenhall is the best running back in the Big Ten. I still got to hold reservations on that one until Mike Hart, number 20 from Michigan, comes to town. But
Hey, I mean,
Mendenhall's in the top 2.
how hard is it to get 100 yards on 60 carries a game? Mendenhall touched the ball 16 times last week. 79, 80 yards, but very effective yards.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's not about the yardage. It's what the threat that he holds, for Illinois.
Right.
They stacked the line. And how did Illinois score their third touchdown? A slant to Ben. Why? Because all the linebackers were up trying to do what?
Stop the run.
Mendenhall.
Right.
And
I'm glad you brought that point up because Juice Williams, you said it last week, he's got to throw for at least 150 to 200 yards for Illinois to be effective. Last week he threw for what?
yeah,
A little over $1.
a little over 100 yards.
And that there is what created.
With a couple drops and a couple bad passes here and there, but by them showing that he's a threat to throw the ball, it still opens up the offense. You don't have to necessarily have the accuracy and the numbers.
Right.
Just pose a threat that you can beat them with the pass.
Well, we're going to go to these phone lines, 384-2452. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
Yeah, my name's Joe. I'm from Champaign, and I guess I'm talking about how Illinois is going to have a tough game tomorrow.
Give us an idea of why that game's going to be tough, Joe.
Well, I guess I look at it like this. You got a head coach that's coming in, a come-from-behind winning kind of coach that's 17-1, and Illinois has won, 8 games in the last 3 seasons?
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, last year, defensively, Illinois took care of P.J. Hill in their running game. But thinking logically, I mean, let's get it together. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't understand how Illinois has the preferred favored, the pool winning or the. You know what I'm trying to say?
They've got the line in their favor
Yeah.
from Vegas, 2.5.
Yeah. I think those people are crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on the game. I mean, it's going to be rough. It's going to be an all-out battle, start to finish. I just hope Illinois can, pull through and lose.
So would you be willing to bet a pot of chili on that game?
Yeah. Spicy chili on the line, man. I got a little bit more than money riding on this game. It's about pride.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Joe, I think we said earlier, number one, if Illinois' offense can keep Wisconsin's offense on the sideline, meaning running the ball, controlling the clock. The other thing, third down conversions through the air. We saw Juice struggle last week. They had to go to McGee late in the fourth quarter. He had the nice 50-plus yard run and set up the field goal to gave him a 7-point cushion. I think there shouldn't be a problem with those guys going back and forth. As long as when they come in, we saw it last year with Florida with Chris Leak and Tebow doing the 2-quarterback system, and that led them to a national championship. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but I think in this particular game, it will keep Wisconsin's defense a little off kilter as to what may happen.
And I also see Wisconsin, they're a good team, but I also see them as a, sort of like a bubble. When it gets full of air, it pops.
Mm-hmm.
They have close games every day. Las Vegas played them close.
Last week was a tough game for Wisconsin. I mean, they struggled
know how to
all
win
the way
in the
through,
end,
but still ended up with the W at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? Last year, Illinois went through the same thing with those. They lost those games.
Yeah.
And now they're a year older.
So no doubt it's going to be a tough game.
Yep.
Give us a score, Joe.
Give us a score?
Give us a score.
It's going to be tough, but I'd say Illinois 21, Wisconsin 28.
Joe, if you're wrong, we're coming through for that chili.
You know where it is.
Just meet me at the station Sunday.
I'll be eating like a fat king after Wisconsin takes the W. That's all I got to say.
Thanks for calling, Joe.
All right, Devin.
Yeah.
Take care.
Later, man.
We got somebody thinking that it's going to be a little tough one, which I agree with me. It's going to be a tough game.
He's from Madison. He's gonna think that way all the time.
So he's a Badger.
Yeah, he's a stinking Badger.
He's a badger with a skunk tail. Is that what you're saying, man?
Yeah.
Well, Joe, we appreciate you calling UPTV Channel 6. Tell it like it is. Big Wayne sitting here. We're talking about the Big Ten football, specifically Illinois, Wisconsin.
Another big game on the docket.
Purdue, Ohio State.
Hey, by us not having to play Purdue.
This might be the key for the Big Ten title.
Yeah. You know, we can, somehow win this Wisconsin game.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of business against Iowa and Michigan.
Right.
That last game of the year, hey.
It might be something.
Not the second to last game.
Right. Well, we're going back to these phone lines. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you call from, tell it like it is. Now, what did you say to him, Stat Girl? This is tell it like it is, not tell him to hang up. Yeah, you. It was you. It's called customer service. It's customer service. Try it. We got to go through training again. Good help is hard to find, people. Applications will now be taken. UPTV Channel 6, give us a call after the show. We might be looking for somebody. But caller who called, got cut off, give us a call back. 384-2452, 384-2452. Sack Girl, you know I'm just playing. Oh, she getting sensitive now, Wayne. Boy, what is it? First Oprah, now this. But you're going back to the Purdue-Ohio State game. That game's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Purdue is putting 45 points a game on the board.
Yeah, but
who have they played? That's the question. They played.
Giving up a lot of points too.
Yeah, they gave up 19 to the non-fighting Irish.
Right.
And we won't even talk about them. They had 33-19 last week. Now they go up against Ohio State. Ohio State.
People keep counting them out. They keep bouncing back every year.
Number 5, and I'm gonna tell you right now.
I don't know where people say the Big Ten is down this year when you got Ohio State out there, Wisconsin, Purdue is undefeated,
right?
And Indiana's a very tough team to play.
And Michigan State's a good team. They lost to Wisconsin by 3 points. Well, we're gonna go back to these phone lines: 384-2452. Caller, tell us the name. Tell us where you calling from. Tell it like it is. Caller, are you there? Caller. Now, I heard the child in the background, so if they hit the talk button on you prematurely, give us a call back, 384-2452. We'll get you on the air before we're done. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. Talk about Big Ten football right now. Like you said, Ohio State, Purdue, another big game. Indiana, Minnesota. Minnesota, Tim Brewster, he got a long way to go with that team.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope he knew he had a good stomach lining when he took that Minnesota job.
Well, he did, but the problem I got with Minnesota, them nasty mustard-colored uniforms. Don't come out there with that, man.
Not on national TV to get stumped.
No, you messing up HDTV. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
Yes, this is KP from Urbana, from the historic Urbana High School. And I would just like to know, Mr. Stovall, what's your opinion of Coach Zook in this third season, now that he's gotten a lot of flack and we're turning it all around? Are we going to get a lot of people back on the bandwagon, or are the true Illini fans still there, or what's your take on that?
Well, number one, all these fickle fans around here, they were jumping off the bandwagon quicker than somebody going down the Soul Train line. But now that Zook is 4-1, and the athletes that he brought in, and the fact that he's given 3 years to get his system in, now they're performing, those people will jump back on. My opinion of him, he was the perfect fit for Illinois in the fact that he came in and kind of brought in type of a bold approach to football. Number one, he's bringing in athletes from all over the country, and we haven't been accustomed to that around here in a while. Number two, the word athlete. He's bringing in guys who can play multiple positions, and you're starting to see players that play positions that we've never seen before. You know, whether it be Eddie McGee or Juice Williams at quarterback, the Mendenhall brothers at running back, Aurelius Ben, Marquise Wilson, Vontae Davis, goes on and on and on. Those guys are athletes that we have really hadn't seen in this program before. So I think as Coach Zook continues to bring in those type of athletes, the program will continually rise around here.
Like you hit on, Joe. I mean, a lot of the coaches, when they come to U of I, they tend to heavily recruit Chicago. Zook has shown that you can go other places. It's football outside of Chicago.
Right.
I mean, we all knew that, but some of the Illinois coaches didn't. You know, I like how he's hitting the East Coast and now bringing some of the Florida players in. I think he'll continue to do a good job.
And the other thing I like, the final thing I talk about athletes, but the one thing that, in terms of the type of athletes he's bringing in athletes who are top performers on the field, but they got good character off the field. That's the other thing I've really enjoyed about it. They had the incident last year with the Geek Squad going out picking up computers and stuff.
Prescriptions.
And they was out doing the Walgreens delivery, but he shut them down quick. He took care of that situation and moved forward. And I think with that type of activity and the fact that the other players, you haven't heard anything in terms of the off the field incidents, as long as that continues, big things will be happening here at U of I.
Like you hit on, like their top players are model citizens. Jay Lehman is already graduated. He's doing Christian fellowship work.
Mm-hmm.
Juice Williams is a top student coming out of high school. So, he's showing that you can recruit great athletes and scholarly athletes. So
Exactly, I agree. Well, we're moving on to Big Ten football. Iowa takes on Penn State. Penn State just a couple weeks ago were ranked in the top 10. Now they just ranked. Period.
Which, speaking of rank, I mean, what is a ranking right now?
It means nothing. And they just proved it. They went from, I think, number 9 in the nation. They went to Ann Arbor, lost to Michigan 14-9. Came here last week, lost 27-20. Now they're out of the top 25.
Going back to saying what is a ranking. Michigan was ranked 5th in the nation at the beginning of the season. They lost 2 games.
Right.
But Penn State turns around and loses to them, and they dropped to 21.
Right.
Then we beat them. I mean, okay, if Michigan was ranked 5th in the nation at the beginning of the season, what's wrong in losing to them?
Right.
I mean, the experts said they were the 5th best team in the country
before the season even started.
Right. Yeah. So South Florida wasn't even ranked 3 weeks ago. They're the number 6 team in the country right now. Who's ranking and who are the experts?
I don't think those guys know any more than us.
Right.
That's the reason why we're on here.
Give us a pen and a pad and let us vote.
I got my pen. Let's get the pad where we can start the voting on the AP and BCS top 25 because it's a joke. Last game, Big Ten, you've got Michigan State going up against the Wildcats. Northwestern played Michigan tough last week. They run that same spread offense.
Especially after coming back from being
shellacked,
right,
crushed, pummeled. So, any other adjectives?
Nah, but it just shows it's another team that you go out there on the field, don't think you're just gonna beat them. Like I say, Illinois has them the last game of the year. They could very well lose that game.
Right. I agree. And when we look at the Big Ten, for decades it was always the big 2: Michigan, Ohio State, and then the rest. But as we talk about with Wisconsin coming in here this week, and they're 17-1 under Brett Bielema. You've got Michigan State. They've got the new coach from Cincinnati,
right.
and Mark D'Antonio is doing a great job there. They lost to Wisconsin by 3 points. Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern, he's got to get the athletes in there. He's running a good concept. Like I said, he took Michigan deep.
Youngest coach in the country.
Into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, you got to think about the circumstances that brought him in as a head coach. So, Iowa, they're a little down this year after.
They'll be back.
They'll definitely be back. Joe Pa, 175 years old, but they're still doing big things in Penn State. So I agree with you. I think the perception of the Big Ten being down, I think it's more media hype and media driven than anything in terms of that. But we'll move on. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. We're rolling into the last quarter, last 15 minutes of the show. Joe and Wayne sitting here talking Big Ten football. We had a call earlier asking us about the Bears, so that only means one thing. The last 15 minutes, we got to talk NFL football, and we're going to start off again with Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears go up against the Green Bay Packers this weekend. The Bears are 1-3. We talked earlier in the show with Big M about some of the issues, so to speak, with the Bears.
We like to say injuries, but it's the NFL. Everybody's injured.
Right.
But at the same time, like we talked about last week, you can't not start 6 of your starters and expect to compete and win every week. So we got to get healthy, work out the offensive issues, and who knows where we can go from there. But like I said, Brett Favre, he is turnover prone. He's had a perfect season thus far. We know that ain't going to continue, so let's see what we can go out there and do.
Speaking of offensive issues, the Bears made a quarterback change last week. They went to Brian Grossman or Rex Greasy because he looks like what the quarterback position has been looking for the past 6-8 games for the Chicago Bears. Greasy went out, threw for 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, could have had a fumble at the end of the game, lucked out on that one. They went up to Detroit and lost 34-24 last week in Detroit. You've got a myriad of things going on. I agree with Wayne in this. I think it starts at the top, the offensive play calling and offensive scheme. But I also think that the pieces to the puzzle are not fitting the way the Bears expected them to fit. I think going into this season, number one, you had a contract year for Grossman. So a lot of people felt, okay, in a contract year, he got the team to the Super Bowl last year. He understands what it takes. That was his first full season under center. So he's going to come in with a full training camp, Super Bowl runner-up on his shoulders, and he's going to come out blazing. He came out and he's still making the same mistakes.
Not only in, this is where I fought the team at, not only in the regular season when the season started, those mistakes were happening in preseason. Fumbling the snap.
Say that again.
Throwing interceptions. So what are you waiting for to make the switch?
Right.
It didn't change from last year.
Right.
The Bears could have won that Super Bowl. Indianapolis didn't really do anything that special. You got the quarterback just fumbling the snap, dropping the ball, kicking the ball 15 yards back behind the line. That's your problem.
Right.
Right there.
And I think the other thing, going back to that quarterback position, I think 2-3 years ago, Kyle Orton, when he came in as a rookie, Bears went 10-6. A lot of people said Orton came in, he managed the team, he did enough to help them win, but he didn't do anything to make them lose. That's what you want.
Now what are people crying about now? We just need somebody to not turn the ball over.
He's sitting back as number 18.
Orton had 5 interceptions against Cincinnati his rookie year in one game.
Right.
I don't think he threw 10 all year.
No. That was that one game.
One game.
And that was the game that he tried to do more than they asked him to do.
Right.
From that point on, he figured out what his role was on the team, which is, as I said earlier about with Illinois, when you got a team that can run the football, the quarterback's job, as you said, number one, is not to turn the ball over, and the number two thing is on third down situations, complete the pass and move the chains. That's all he's got to do. The other person who's not moving the chains, Benson and Hedges. Cedric Benson. I know the Bears, what was it, 3 years ago, made him the 4th overall pick
Which
in the
I
NFL
question that
draft.
because you just signed Thomas Jones.
At that
Which
point,
I'm not a Thomas Jones fan, but if you sign somebody for a big contract as a running back, why draft a running back number 4?
well, here's my point to you, and the reason why I bring this up with Cedric Benson. We just talked earlier about who made the decision for Rex Grossman.
Angelo.
Who do you think made that decision to draft Cedric Benson?
Angelo.
Who's put in a position to have to play those players?
Lovey.
And if it doesn't work, who gets fired?
Lovey.
Case closed. That's the reason why Lovie Smith looks like he needs to take a couple of Xanax after every post, because he's sitting there looking, going, we had our running back. We had our running back. We had the system in place to take this team. We got to the Super Bowl last year, and now I'm stuck with a quarterback who can't stay focused, and I got a running back. As soon as he hit the hole, he looked like Neil Anderson back in the day. As soon as he gets touched, he's down.
And this is just my personal opinion. We harping on the offensive line. It's not run blocking. They're human, and it's a sport, and I know you're supposed to go all out, but I seriously think they have a hard time blocking for Benson, just because I can see him being a tough person to get along with.
Right.
Thomas Jones is there. They opened up the holes when they were supposed to open them up. Everybody talked about how great he was in the locker room.
Right.
Everyone says how bad Benson is in the locker room. You know, if you don't like a person, you're not going to go all out for him.
Right. I agree. Now, going all out, you're going up against your arch rivals in the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers.
Do or die game for the Bears.
And last week, Brett Favre broke the NFL record for touchdowns in a career. The record was previously held by Dan Marino at 420. He held that record for 13 years. Last week, Brett Favre broke the record, 2 touchdowns against Minnesota. He's sitting at 422. The thing that I'm looking at with the Green Bay Packers, I thought, and we talked about this last week, Brett Favre was done. He's got a lot of youth in terms of Jennings. He's got his experienced receiver with Donald Driver. I think the key, though, that a lot of people aren't talking about, Bubba Franks at the tight end position has resurrected his career after kind of sliding off for the past 2 years.
Maybe longer.
Yeah. Bubba Franks used to be one of the top tight ends in all of NFL, and now it looks like he's coming back. He's running down the seam of the field. He's getting behind linebackers and in front of safeties. He's catching the football.
Right.
And when Brett Favre has that tight end, you think back to when he had Mark Chmura, and he was able to throw to Chmura in those key third down situations. It made it easier for him to get it to the wings for Antonio Freeman and Rising and guys like that.
On the slants, because everybody's worried about what the tight end is doing downfield. Here they come underneath.
What is Lovie Smith going to do this weekend to kind of combat that?
I still say pressure, pressure, pressure. Everybody, like I said, you get in Brett Favre's face, that's for any quarterback. They don't like pressure in their face. He'll make bad passes. You just got to stay close in the game, and he'll give one up to give your team an opportunity to beat them.
I agree with you on the pressure, but the pressure has to come from the 4-down linemen.
Right, no blitzing.
You can't blitz Brett Favre. You blitz Brett Favre, put a touchdown on the board.
Which, for the most part, the Bears are getting pressure without blitzing.
Right.
You know, Anderson, Tommy Harris are doing a great job this year getting pressure on the quarterback. Think, you know, Urlacher and the boys got to, like you say, do a good job on Frank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think the Bears will be all right.
Other thing, or the final thing on the Bears-Packers game, the Packers, 32nd in the NFL in terms of their running attack. They don't run the football. They don't even attempt to run the football. They basically got 2 rookie running backs in Jackson and Wynn, and then Morency, they bring him in off the bench. He's only a second or third year guy. They really haven't made any commitment to the run. I think if the Bears can stop,
eventually they might go to a nickel just to, you know, the Bears can stop them with their front four and Urlacher.
Exactly.
You know, they can go to a nickel and beat them.
Yeah, so that's, I think, the key in Sunday's game is you're going to have Brett Favre throwing the ball, the Bears defensive line trying to pressure him, and on the offensive side, can Brian Grossman or Rex Greasy keep the ball out of the hands of the Green Bay defenders? If they can do that, they might have a little better opportunity in terms of what they've had in the first 4 games of the Bears to start off the season 1-3. Going through the other NFL games, you've got the Jaguars and Chiefs coming up. The Chiefs trying to play some football now. They've won 2 in a row. They beat the Vikings and then came back and beat the Chargers still early. Damon Heward's a horrible quarterback, but, you know, Herm Edwards.
Beat the Vikings and the Chargers.
Hey, man.
The Vikings and the Chargers.
Don't you emphasize
Hey,
that Viking a little too hard, man.
Okay, the Chargers and the Vikings.
All right, I appreciate
Either or.
that. I appreciate that.
Neither one has done anything, you know. Well, Kansas City still beat them.
Right.
If they can beat Jacksonville, I don't know.
I don't think they can beat Jacksonville due to the fact that I expect Jacksonville coming off the bye. Jacksonville's got to retool their running game.
Right.
I was expecting Maurice Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor just to come out and just start bum rushing defenses out there. It hadn't happened. Still early in the season. You talked earlier in the show about David Garrard taking over the starting quarterback position. That's the other thing. Jacksonville doesn't have any receivers that really put fear in the other team's heart. And because of that, teams are dropping 8, even 9 in the box on them.
Right.
You know, Miami, they're taking on the Houston Texans. Texans went to Atlanta and got beat.
Atlanta had to win 1 game.
Right.
They had to win 1 game this year. But the Texans are making strides. And like I said, Dolphins are the last ranked defense in the league. And one thing we do know, the Texans are moving the ball and they're scoring. So
Right.
And it's at home. So the Dolphins, I think, take another L.
The other thing, though, I think that's happening with the Dolphins, the worst pickup in the league, Trent Green.
Why? Why do you do that?
I think people were looking at Trent Green thinking Trent Green was going to be the player he was before the concussion, No. Trent Green is still in the fog. He's playing in the fog. And because of that, Miami really looked silly last week, losing to the Oakland Raiders, and Dante Culpepper scoring 5 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 2 in the air, and he was their quarterback for 1 year. It wasn't even 1 year.
And, you know, to go back to Trent Green, you know, it's easy to say he's a great quarterback. Well, you got Larry Johnson running the ball for you. And you got an outlet in, you know, Gonzalez.
Right.
So does Miami have those weapons? No.
No.
So, you know, that's the problem there.
Well, the hottest team in the NFC right now, the Dallas Cowboys.
Woo.
T.O. and Tony Romo are doing some big things down there in Big D. And I don't think anybody, I know myself included, saw this on the horizon. I know the Cowboys made it to the playoffs last year. Romo fumbles the snap for the winning field goal against Seattle.
I've seen them being competitive but not dominant.
No.
And for the most part, they're being dominant right now.
They're being dominant. They're doing some great things in the NFC. Right now,
Got a test next week, though.
you've got 4 games played in the NFC. You've got the Cowboys, who look like they're the cream of the crop in the NFC. The Packers, I still think that's a fluke.
Yeah, you can't. This is the NFL. You cannot go a whole season. Even when Peyton Manning threw all those touchdowns.
He had a running game.
Right.
You got to have a running
You
game.
got to have a running game.
If you look at any other teams in the NFC, the Giants, they're Jekyll and Hyde. They beat Philly last week. They're 2-2. Philly is 1-3 after coming off a 56-point effort against Detroit. They come back against the Giants and put up 3 measly points. McNabb 12 times. I guess that's the other pressure he was talking about, being an African-American quarterback. Somebody on your head 12 times.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that had to be the bonehead coaching move of the week. You got a rookie left tackle
And you say,
going against an all-pro.
and I'm not going to give him any help.
No tight end to help.
No back chipping.
No back chipping. This guy had 6 sacks alone.
Yeah, he took McNabb and took 240 pounds of quarterback and put him in a 120-pound bag because he was sacking him. He crushed him during that game. Now, on the flip side, in the AFC, we talked last week about New England just looking phenomenal. And Monday night, bear witness to what they did to the Cincinnati Bengals. You got Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco arguing with Carson Palmer coming off the field at halftime. There's a lot of disarray in Cincinnati. You got Marvin Lewis coming out basically saying in a post-game press conference, we got selfish players on this team. And it was only directed at one person. Ocho Cinco. You know, so you got
Mr. Hall of Fame.
they.
So he says.
You know what? After that game, he should have took his Hall of Fame jacket, went over to number 81 for the Patriots, put it on his shoulder, and walked off the field. This is how good Randy Moss looked in that game. Now,
his career was over.
yeah,
Mr. Moss. You know.
yeah, by those so-called experts, the experts, same guys who vote for the BCS top 25.
Yeah.
Give me a break. But now, Peyton Manning. He had a caller earlier, and he talked about Peyton Manning. I made the point it took him 9 years to get to the Super Bowl. But now, the Colts are still rolling undefeated. But you know what it is for me?
Tricky game coming up this week.
Real tricky game coming up for the Colts. Their defense, though, is still playing superb football.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe even better than last year.
you think so?
Yeah.
Well, before we get on out of here, UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. I want to say thank you, number one, to Jason Leggett, the man who's behind the scenes running the show, flipping all the switches. Stat Girl. That's all I'm going to say. Bonus. Boy, you only been on the job 2 weeks. Come on now, you still on your probationary period, you know. But hey, you ain't a rookie no more, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
2 shows. You a vet now.
I'm still kind of nervous, though. I'll work it out.
I was gonna say we might have to powder you up again, you know,
Right.
keep the sheen down off the camera, stuff like that. But you at home, we want to thank you for giving us a call. UPTV Channel 6. Hit us next week, 8 o'clock.
Let's go.